Good evening, everybody. Welcome to another episode of Uncommon Sense. For the benefit of those who are not familiar with the channel, what we do here is we discuss everyday issues and we try to seek solutions to those issues. However, not everyone uses logic. For that reason, it's called Uncommon Sense. I'm currently live on YouTube, Facebook, and Periscope and Twitter. I apologize for starting a little early. It's just that our special guest is here and he's a very busy man. So I just want to make sure that he has this opportunity to share his wisdom with us. Before I let him on, I'm going to read the disclosure. The views of the guests who appear on the channel are not necessarily those of the host nor this channel. Any attempt to copy the material without the consent of the host, Jose Negron, or the channel Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron is prohibited. By appearing on the call, you waive your rights to your image on this channel. Some of the views which the guests may hold may be offensive to some viewers. If you do not like the channel, you can block the channel. So now we're going to allow our guests to come in. Good evening, Tim.
How are you, Jose?
Okay, well, first of all, thank you very much for being on my channel. Now, let me just explain a little bit. This is part 2 of a series, How to Deal with Depression.
Okay.
So what me and other people did, we shared our own personal stories.
Okay.
How we dealt with the depression. But being that it is a deep subject, I felt that we need to have a professional to share with us some expertise. And I understand that you're very busy, so that's why I want to give you, the stage so you can share and give like a brief overview about what is depression and how we can deal with it.
Mm-hmm. Okay. So yeah, how's it going, everyone? My name is Tim Delgado. I'm a behavior specialist. And within these last 2 months, I started working on the life coaching side too. So yeah, I've been doing this work since 2010. So I'm going on 12 years. And yeah, so talking about depression. So first of all, I'm going to talk about kind of like the generalized depression, because I feel like now there's different kinds of depression based on the times. Does that make sense, Jose?
Yes, it does. And one of the things I stress is that depression can appear at any time in the year. However, there's certain times of the year where the presence of depression is more stronger than others, particularly the time between Thanksgiving and New Year's. Am I wrong in making that assessment?
No, you're not wrong. Yeah, I get busier in the holidays because of people feel lonely. Yeah, so I'm super busy right now.
Okay.
Yeah, we're one of those areas where they don't slow down. So first of all, to talk about depression, or do you want to do it in question form? You want to ask me something and I answer? Or?
You know what? Let's just do it this way. You just give like, your expertise. Okay. And then what we can do is I may raise some questions, and then if anybody wants to share, the input, by all means do so, because we want to take it. We don't want to keep you away too long because this is a busy time. But I do appreciate your input.
Okay. Okay. So yeah, so first of all, let's talk about who gets depressed because there's two kinds of people in this world. So I'm gonna give you an example. When I get a couple in therapy,
Mhm.
I don't see them as man or woman. I
Okay.
want to see who's masculine and who's feminine. Does that make sense?
Yes,
Because
it
that
does.
because that tells me a lot about what's going on with that couple. Does that make sense? But
Yes, it
now,
does.
even if an individual comes in, I want to see if they're tilted to the feminine or to the masculine and how far they're tilted. Because there's a healthy side of the feminine and there's a healthy side of the masculine.
Mhm.
Then there's the unhealthy side of the feminine and the unhealthy side of the masculine. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So, in the unhealthy side of the feminine, those are the people that are overthinkers. They went inward at a young age. So they tend to bottle things in. Bottling things in turns into overthinking. Overthinking can turn into anxiety or depression. These people are sometimes one-sided, too nice, too positive. They have a guilt for being firm. And the reason I ask who gets depressed, because in the unhealthy masculine, those are the people with the anger issues. So there's people that would rather choose sadness, and there's people that would rather choose anger. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
So there's people with anger issues, and then there's people that choose to get depressed. And I'll speak from experience. Up into age 22, I was in the unhealthy feminine. So I was choosing sadness more. I would get depressed more. I would, especially in relationships, it would show up. I would compare myself to others more. I was walking on eggshells for everyone. I was trying to be too nice, too positive, bottling things in. Does that make sense? And this is the thing, bottling things in turns into overthinking. And after years of overthinking, it can turn into anxiety or depression, panic attacks, even OCD for some people I've seen. And there's some people, I guess if it runs in their genes, they can even get schizophrenic. Does that make sense? So depression, so that's the first part of depression. I feel like what kind of person gets depressed, verifying what kind of person gets depressed. And now for a different side of depression is people get depressed when we're trying to compare our lives or ourselves to a fantasy. Does that
Mhm.
make sense? And the reason I bring about the times is because Instagram, social media, it's the fastest way to compare yourself to someone, to compare your lifestyle to someone. Does that make sense? More on social media about the times why people are getting depressed more. I feel like a lot of people, I see it from my clients, instead of the human mind needs people. But instead of meeting up with friends, people are choosing to stay home on a Friday night and swipe through social media, but it's artificial. And in the long run, it leaves them feeling empty and depressed. So I'm always big on we need people, we need experience, we need human interaction. Does that make sense? So yeah, so that's where I feel, especially in these times where I feel depression is. Now let's talk about the pandemic. How did the pandemic cause depression? Here's another side of depression. When there's no accountability, when there's no structure, and when there's no urgency, people feel like they're floating around in reality. Does that make sense? So I feel like one part of it is this generation is not getting a lot of accountability. They're not getting a lot of structure. They have way less urgency. Like I'll give you an example. I ask people from older generations just because of the way I am. Did you ever feel anxiety back in those days in the 50s, 60s? You know what they tell me most of the time? Like I didn't have time to think about that. I was busy working. A lot of people don't realize that productivity is part of mental health. When the human mind perceives that you're not producing, it's a matter of time before you go into self sabotage. Make sense? So that's what I mean by accountability, structure, and urgency. So what happened in the pandemic? Kids started going to school from home, so they didn't have a teacher telling them what to do in person. People started working from home in their own time. And when you take away that structure, that accountability, and that urgency, people found it hard to structure themselves, to give themselves that urgency. And they fell into a depression in a way. They felt like they were floating around in reality. And right when the pandemic hit, 3 months later, maybe 3 to 4 months later, I started getting a lot of high school kids that were going to school, but they got pulled away from the structure. So they felt like they were floating around in reality, and their parents would come in. They're like, they're not even logging on to school. They have a hard time waking up. Here's another part. If the parents are too soft on the kids, because it's the parents' job also to give accountability, structure, and urgency. Does all this make sense? I feel like I'm throwing all this information at you.
Yes, if I can just interject for a moment, I think what's going to be a problem is because eventually
Mhm.
the pandemic will end. However, I think what we're going to have to do is we're going to have to learn how to interact with other people again, because you have a large segment of the community
Mhm.
that's been working remotely.
Mhm.
You have people who've been spending all their time in virtual meetings. So I
Mhm.
think what's going to happen is people have lost the art of how to interact with others, and I see that not just in social media with other channels, but I also see it because I attend many virtual meetings,
Mhm.
some of them with my job and some of them with my union. And I think what's one danger is we're losing the ability to interact with each other
With each
instead
other.
of just behind a screen or behind a computer.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's true. Like I said, it feels good. It feels good to see your friends' pictures or even go on a Zoom. But at the end of the day, it's artificial in a way, and people are left feeling empty. They're left feeling alone. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Another artificial connection is a like, but a like on Facebook, a like on Instagram. People get a little kick, but it doesn't last. Does that make sense?
Yeah, I agree. And once been what's another problem it is we have individuals that spend multiple hours on social media. I
Hmm.
mean, there have been people who have put on streams for 8, 9, 10 hours,
Hmm.
um, which is their choice.
Hmm.
It's that many of us, we have our jobs, we have our responsibilities and things of that nature.
Hmm.
And it is a danger that when you spend that much time in social media, it could become an addiction. I just want to let everybody know that the link is on, the link is there if anyone wishes to join the stream. I'm going to ask that people please be respectful because this is a serious discussion. Now, I already did send the link to several people. One of them is, of course, our dear friend Denise and her better half, Melanie and Knight. And in fact, she was the one that inspired me to have my own channel.
Mm. Yeah, Denise is a good friend. She's a strong person.
Yes, she is.
Yeah.
But let's continue. I didn't mean to interrupt.
Yeah. And I want to get into of the roots of depression. So there's two sides to it. Most people go to therapy for traumas. So everyone knows a trauma, whether you went through abuse, you saw your parents fighting, what the negative stuff, it's kind of like obvious that people go to therapy for that, right?
Yes.
But a lot of people don't realize that, and a lot of my clients tell me like you're the first one to call out the other side. So what's the other side? Growing up getting too much of the positive, over support, over enabling, getting spoiled too much, a parent telling you yes too much, or a parent not being there to tell you no, it creates a false reality or a false expectation on reality. So when you grow up and you go to adulthood, you might have false expectations on reality that may cause depression. Or if you're more on the masculine side, it might cause anger issues. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So a lot of people, like I'll give you an example. When I get drug addicts or former drug addicts, I go right away to the positive. I don't even go to the negative side. Does that make sense? I
Mm-hmm.
always ask them, did you get over supported, over enabled? Parents telling you yes too much, being enabled by parents, and they're like, you know what? I did. And one of them, I never forget one of them. He's like, and it wasn't until they left me. They spent thousands of dollars trying to put me into homes and get extra help for me. It wasn't until they left me and when they let me hit the floor that I changed. So I had a client ask me, Tim, why is there so many homeless on the street? And I told her my little theory. This is my little theory, so I don't want to offend anyone. But I
Mm-hmm.
told her, look, it's a small percentage of the people that actually went to war and have these mental disorders. Make sense? I agree. A lot of them have mental disorders, but why? Because they didn't get accountability, they didn't get structure, they weren't taught urgency at a young age, so they feel like they're floating around in reality. So they take drugs, and a lot of them have told me here, like, it's not that I got high off the drugs, I just felt normal on the drugs because they felt too schizophrenic, floating around in reality. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm.
So this is the thing that I tell people sometimes. We need a balance of support and challenge in life. If there's too much support, we're gonna be weaker in a way. That's why, like, I'll give you an example with my upbringing. For a long time, I hated my dad. He was a douchebag. He was this. He was a drunk. He used to hit my mom. But he also like was challenging me. I felt like he liked me the least. But because he gave me the negative, he guided my career in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Because of the negative that he did, and I'm not saying you have to do what my dad did, but knowing that humans grow from challenges, because humans grow from challenges and negative situations, knowing that you could control your kids' challenges. Does that make sense?
Yes, I don't mean to interrupt, but I do have a question. How do you build that balance between support and challenges? How do you manage to keep an equilibrium?
Well, I feel the first step in creating the balance, because look, what's going to cause the imbalance a lot of the times is growing up, not only with our parents, because of what we believe in, we created certain beliefs. So I'll give you an example. There's
Mhm.
a lot of because there's nothing wrong with being a hippie person, but there's a lot of super hippie people that it supports their imbalance. Oh, you just got to be positive. You just got to be nice. Everything should come easy. Nothing should be hard. Does that make sense?
No, excuse me. I don't. Would you mind explaining what you mean by hippie? Because one thing I like to do is when I use terminology, I like
Yeah.
to give clear definitions because unfortunately you have people who take a word and they take it out of context.
Okay. I'm gonna explain it this way. The way I see, not all of them, because not all of them are like that. That's why I said super. Some people that I feel are super hippie, they don't like structure. They don't believe in it.
Hmm.
But that's not reality. Does that make sense?
Yes.
One, they don't believe in structure and they don't believe in the negative. They don't believe that things should be hard. Everything should come easy. Do what you love only. Sometimes you got to do what it takes. Sometimes you got to work hard. I've been here all day. Does that make sense?
Mhm.
Like it's one-sided beliefs in a way. They're just trying to
Mhm.
be positive, do the positive, no challenges. So what I'm saying by that is how to create that balance. Because look, I was one of them in a way back in like 2006 and 7. I
Mhm.
was one of them. So I'm speaking from experience. But believing those beliefs, one, I was getting stepped on all over by everyone because I was trying to be too positive. And the other side is I was always broke. I didn't believe in structure and I was always broke in a way. So I always have this saying, the more you see reality, the less you get triggered by things.
Mm-hmm.
So I think the first step is to see the reality of things. This is the difference that I feel because I still know people from that community that I was part of it in a way. But so the difference with me and them is that I'm open to let go of a belief that I believed in yesterday if I know if it didn't work. Does that
Mm-hmm.
make sense?
Yes, bless you. Now, one thing I have a saying. It's not good English, but
Mhm,
it's accurate.
mhm,
When you mess up, fess up. In other words, take accountability for the
right,
mistakes that you made and
mhm,
make sure that you learn from them so you don't repeat the same mistake.
mhm. Look, I knew a girl from that community. This was like I hadn't talked to her in a while, and then her friend called me like, "Hey, so and so, did you know she went back to her hometown?" And I'm like, "Why?" She's like, "She went schizophrenic." And I
Mm.
was like, "What the heck?" Like I knew her good. Finally, her parents called me one day and was like, "Tim, like, why do you think she went like that?" And I'm like, "Look, she came here to California, but she couldn't keep a job, but she didn't have to because you guys kept sending her money, and she would sabotage every job." And there she is, Latin explaining. and and one day I finally talked to her. This was like a year ago, and I asked her like, "Hey, what's going on?" Like I just tried to pick her brains a little, just a quick little chat. And she told me a belief that was in that community. What she said was, I'm just waiting for everything to flow with ease.
Okay. Uh, I'm trying to get Melanated Night on, but the problem is I don't know how to connect his mic.
Okay.
Uh, so,
It has to be on his end, I think, because I see my little I see kind of like my little options over here where there's a mic.
yeah, because
It might be on his end.
yeah, okay. Melanated Night, if you're listening, okay. Well, he's. I see Denise is on the chat. Denise, by all means, join us.
Yeah.
I'm sorry.
We've had these conversations with Denise. But yeah, what this girl told me, I'm like, what's going on? And she was like, I'm waiting for everything to flow with ease. And I was like, where did you learn that? But I know where she learned it. And I told her, like, you know, a lot of that stuff. Like I had to put myself in it. I was like, look, I believe that belief before, but it doesn't work. But you see what I mean? That sometimes we have to question if our beliefs or strategies work. And I feel like a lot of people aren't open for that because their identity, their beliefs, and their identity are connected. Their community is part of that. So it's hard for them to let go of these certain beliefs. So I feel like to answer your question, what's the first step is to be honest with yourself and get closer to reality, to what's really working and what's really not working in a way. I feel like the to create balance, and this is the balance that I see with there's some people that are too in the clouds in a way, and there's some people that are too realistic. But I feel like there has to be a balance. So I feel like yes, I want to be structured, I want to be realistic, but you also need the other side. But if
Mhm.
you're tilted too much to one side, it's gonna cause problems in a way. One side is anger issues, the other side is depression in a way. So yeah.
Yeah.
Any other question? I know I just went off with all this information.
Okay, but you know what? I see there's three people viewing it, so I'm just gonna ask if anyone has a question. If we don't want to get on the panel, you can enter it in the chat, and then Tim will share his wisdom with us. Now, I did drop in the link again, so hopefully Melanated Knight will be able to join us because he did specifically requested to be on the panel so he can share his experiences as well. And I think his
Mhm.
input would be really be appreciated.
Is he trying to get in still?
I have no idea what I just sent a
Mhm.
DM to him to see if he can click on to the link in the chat because I did send the link.
Mhm.
So I don't know. Um, or maybe Denise could hop on and then he can talk through Denise's link.
Okay. Yeah, tell Denise to hop on.
Um, yeah, let me message her on Instagram.
She has good perspectives too. That like I've been with her on live a couple times, and she brings up good topics. So.
Yeah, I mean, one thing that I've had the pleasure of knowing her for 8 months,
Mhm.
and she's been a very good friend to me.
Mhm.
She's given me a lot of technical advice as far as
Mhm.
my channel, also some advice to dealing with certain individuals. Now, which she refers to as the slow steps.
Mhm.
I have an umbrella term which I call the mentally and intellectually challenged.
Mhm.
There are certain groups of people. Okay, there's certain groups of people who are very opinionated. They cannot accept criticism. If you
Mhm.
challenge their belief, they get defensive and
Mhm.
react. So for that reason, I use the umbrella term, the mentally and intellectually challenged, or the mix.
Mhm. Yeah, and it's true. I feel like now everyone's trying to bubble wrap their experience. Instead of facing a challenge or eating up reality, they'd rather bubble wrap it, adjust it to them in a way. And they're trying to force people to adjust to them. And it's not reality. Does that
No,
make sense?
yeah. Now, when you say bubble wrap, would you explain what that means, please?
Like I'll give you an example. Instead of eating up the reality that not everyone is gonna say nice things to them, they'd rather cancel people and adjust the reality to them. Does that make sense?
Yes. Good evening, Denise.
Hello, guys. How are you?
How you doing today?
Good,
Good. How
good.
are you?
Good. I just got home.
Is
Okay.
How's
melanated white
everything
with you?
going? Come
Okay.
again?
I'm
I
sorry.
think.
Go ahead.
No, I was just gonna say, melanated knight was trying to get in. Is he with you?
No, he's at work. He's at work. We
Oh,
were
okay.
both having a very busy day, and with all this storm happening here in SoCal,
Oh yeah.
the traffic
The
is
rain's a
crazy.
little. Yeah.
Tim was just sharing his expertise regarding the areas of depression and some of the causes. And I was just explaining, um, the fact that we have certain members of the YouTube community
Mhm.
which have problems accepting other people's opinions and viewpoints and lashing out, which I use my term, which is the mentally and intellectually challenged.
Mhm.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's something that I think I've said it a couple of times before. I think that people nowadays wants to feel special. There is a need for people to feel special, and I don't know if it's related to social media. I saw that you posted something the other day, Tim, on your social media
Which
uh
one?
regarding now the metaverse.
Oh,
um
the video.
that's something that professionals like yourself have to educate us more on what's to be expected, because I think that with the inception of social media and this artificial lifestyle that we have right now going on, a lot of people that shouldn't have, a voice has one. And at the same time, they're like creating like their own little planet where they are like the center of that little universe based on whatever group they choose to identify with,
Hmm.
and they expect the world to mold to that reality that they have formed in the internet.
It's so true. And Jose, that's a perfect example of what I mean by they're trying to bubble wrap their experience.
Okay. I just want to, Denise, I just want to welcome your better half.
My beloved.
Yes, first of all, shout out to you. First time appearing on my channel. Thank you very much.
Hmm. Is he there with a mic or no? He's not.
No, he's muted.
But yeah, and I know
Hey
you.
guys, it's hard to hear because my mic is messed up and I'm at work, so I'm trying to adjust both so you guys are not hearing me at work. But what's up, Tim?
How's it going?
Well, first of all, thank you very much, my cyber son-in-law, for showing up.
And yeah, what's up, Justin? Good to hear from both of you, Denise and Justin. But yeah, and talking about one thing that popped in my head right now is there's a lot of entitlement. There's a lot of entitlement now, and it comes from what I was telling you. Yes, we have traumas, but sometimes when you get too much of the positive growing up, it creates an entitlement, a false expectation on reality. The difference now is that people are trying to create certain things to keep that entitlement in a way.
Mm-hmm.
Does that make sense? Where it's not realistic, it's not going to last in a way.
Yes.
No, it even on my platform, I try to point it more into a financial situation when we have people right now, especially my generation. Um, we're seeing a lot of people, and I'm seeing even on some of my friends and family that are around my age. And I even saw it a little bit on myself, and I started, kicking that to the curb a little bit because if you think about it, a lot of people right now are using this, I call it the cards, the woman card or the Latino card or the black card or the LGBT card, just to bring people to their world and make the world facilitate the lifestyle that they want. and and without any work whatsoever. It's like this should be given to me simply because I have this card and this is the way the world's supposed to function. And it's not a sustainable lifestyle, even on a financial aspect, because if we mold to everyone's needs, that's not a sustainable economy.
Yeah.
So even in something that's so vital for society, as finances and the way our money is distributed, is something so vital even to that it makes, at least it made me worry about what will be the future once older generations go into retirement and we are left with us millennials. You guys pass the baton to us as the working force and generations that come after us, because seniors are doing it even worse than us. So it brings a lot of concerns what we're seeing right now, and social media is not helping.
I would just like to give you better have an opportunity to share his viewpoint if he's able.
Justin.
Okay. Well,
They got him. They got him. The slow taps got him.
okay. Now, the fact of the matter is, we do see a great deal of lack of immaturity, not just in social media, but also in the outside world. I mean, when I look, and I'm going to speak for myself, when I think about my coworkers and how they react, sometimes it just makes me wonder. And the fact of the matter is, as Denise said, people like of my generation, we're going to be retired within a few years. And the fact of the matter is, the millennials and the Gen Z people is going to have to pick up the slack. So if they're not able to, to overcome whatever is the idiosyncrasies, we're not going to be in a good state of affairs.
Yeah.
No, and that's what we're seeing, even crime going up,
Mhm.
because we're seeing people that are so desperate to keep up with the fake reality they're seeing on social media without seeing the actual work that it takes to get there. And then
Mhm.
when you tell them, hey, that when for a person to make $1 million, it has to go, at least a regular person like ourselves, we have to go into at least 20 years of constant work every day with a
Building.
strategic plan. It does not happen in 5 years. It does not
Mhm.
happen overnight. You're not going to find an elevator to success. You have to take the
Mhm.
stairs. And then they tend to get offended by that reality. Oh, we're not so. I even had an individual on my channel the other day. We're not supposed to overwork ourselves like we saw our fathers and our grandparents, because they work themselves to death. And I'm like, but that's life.
Yeah. And
Work
they
is not
never have
supposed to feel good.
anxiety.
Yeah, work is not supposed to feel good. It's called work for a reason.
Yeah,
You're
Mhm.
supposed to have some wear and tear in life. That's
I
part of
mean,
life.
I mean, I don't mean to cut in, but the fact of the matter is this: I have to work every day, and sometimes it could be a struggle, to get up in the morning, get on the subway, and have to deal with all the craziness of work. But the fact of the matter is, I am not blessed to be a gazillionaire. I have to work to make sure that I earn a salary, to pay my bills. And I've been very fortunate in the sense that I was able to get a college education. I'm the first member of my family to graduate from college. I'm also bought my property. This month will be 4 years that I bought my condo. So I have got at least one promotion under my belt. All this because of work. Now, I want to make this perfectly clear. Not all the millennials are like this, okay?
Mhm.
I mean, you have a lot of many millennials who work hard, who are productive, who are pillars of their community.
Mhm.
Unfortunately, you have some who have this desire to feel good. I mean, work is work because you are putting in your labor,
Mhm.
and the goal is to work until you get to the point when you're able to retire. You'll
Mhm.
get Social Security and a pension. The reason why that's there, because that is the fruit.
Mhm.
That you have a pension and Social Security, so you can spend your golden years to do whatever you wish.
Mhm. It's true, and it's true what you said. Not all of them are. Well, I used to have my office in Santa Monica, and I used to meet some young people in tech that were making 100,000, 123,000, and he was only like 23 years old. But on the other side of that I see, because I see it a lot, I see it with my young clients. Some of my young clients tell me, some of the young guys tell me, Tim, the way you come off, like in our generation, masculinity and being tough is frowned upon. And I get the young girls coming in and saying, complaining about the young guys now, like, wow, they're too soft. All they do is stay home and play video games, and they have anxiety. A lot of my friends are dating older guys, but it just tells me the way society's going. Um, when you were talking about Denise, about how entitled and how the youth is now, do you blame kind of like Jeff Bezos for wanting to create robots? They don't want to deal with the people that are asking for a break every 30 minutes.
No, it's something that I have even said before when
Yeah.
I touch on automation, and there is now that you bring Jeff Bezos into the equation, there is something that bothers me. I don't know if it's a me problem, but we tend to have a problem, and as a society, with people that make too much money.
Yeah.
And it's simply because some people will wish that they were the ones in that position, and they don't know how to, and that's the way for them to express the frustration. But in reality, whether we like it or not, because a lot of people don't understand this, you might not like that automation is going to take over, it's already taking over whether we like it or not, But everything that we do today funds AI. Everything that we do, even us sitting here talking on YouTube through, all these devices and these interfaces and whatnot, everything that we do funds AI. And if people, when you present these ideas to specifically my generation, when you present them with what is going on in the world and the way that the world is shifting into this new reality, they act surprised and they start throwing a fit. And when you tell them manual labor, it's becoming obsolete by the minute. Therefore, you have to stay competent in order to, make a living and move forward. They tend to not understand what's going on. But at the same time, in the same breath, it's like they're speaking from both sides of their neck. You're already a cyborg, and people don't understand this. Explaining the same situation that you brought up with Jeff Bezos and the breaks that and all the benefits that they don't have to pay the robots. For example, you don't have to go anymore to the library to actually get the information that you needed to, to put more information into your brain and go and collect that from the library. You have an extension of yourself that you have personalized in the palm of your hand, and it facilitates everything that you do. You don't have to send letters anymore. Now we send emails or we send text messages or DMs and whatnot. So that same convenience also we are supposed to expect is going to translate into the workforce.
Excuse me, Denise. I just want to acknowledge the fact that we have two teachers here. And if Justin can share a little bit, if he's fixed his audio problem.
I think it's fixed. Like,
there we go. Are you? Yeah.
All right. Yeah. I don't know where I'm supposed to like start off from, but I guess like when our own issues, when me and Denise came to Tim, I was have to say I was very in feminine energy. I didn't know that at the time, and like when it was explained, I felt kind of embarrassed because it's like, damn, like I'm a man though. And it's like you get into this mode of you because of what you're taught sometimes, you think that you're one way, but you're really the other. And then sometimes in households, and that's not to blame, sometimes our parents or sometimes the environment we in, but we have a lot of people around us that don't know behaviors, that don't know how they're acting, that don't know how to, navigate. So we often we often don't know what the real masculine version of things are. We don't know what the real feminine versions are of things are. So that's how I kind of felt. I felt like I was being really masculine, even though I was very timid. I was very, quiet. I didn't like to speak up for myself, and I kind of just stayed to myself. But at the same time, I thought I was being masculine because if you push me, I would get super angry. So I just think more now than ever, a lot of signals are being crossed because everybody's being coddled and everybody's being allowed to just be like, oh, yeah, you can do whatever you want. And that doesn't work.
Okay. True teacher, please bless us with your words of wisdom.
Oh, they got him too. Yeah,
they got me, and now they got him.
Okay. One string that I actually did when we did part one, there was a problem with the computer speaking for itself. So, I mean, it was humorous in a way, but it's a little frustrating when you're trying to, conduct a string. So,
but you know what? I wanted to like make the people that we're dealing with online are people that don't go outside.
There's a lot of that.
Because like they've said some disparaging things. Like for instance, when you guys had that first panel, they said some disparaging things about Denise. and some disparaging things about you, and I'm like, okay, we don't know these people. You
Mhm.
don't know people personally, and instead of attacking points, we attack people first. Now I can't, I'm guilty of it. All of us have been guilty of that at one point. But
Mhm.
I like to treat, if I'm gonna be on here, I would rather be like how I am in real life than to create a character. I
Mhm.
feel like creating a character takes too much energy and too much time, and you really should just be your authentic. Yeah, sorry. Sometimes words get authentic self. And then two, it like with people with how they approach you. I feel like if you're gonna approach me like that digitally, I'm gonna take it the same way in real life.
Mhm.
You can't say one way I'm gonna cuss you out and do this in real life. I mean in online, and then in person we're gonna act cool. You have to be the same person you are, because I feel like when we become two different people, we have an identity crisis.
Mhm.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
like when I'm melanated at night, I'm also Justin. I can't be two different people.
Mhm.
Yes. Well, to be like I said before, I think I said this at one point. Justin, when I met Denise, we met through a disagreement. She said some things where I had a really an issue to accept. However, what I did was I allow her the opportunity to amplify her viewpoint further.
Mhm.
Nowadays, look, the community that we're dealing with, and that's what scares me the most, and that's why I keep going. I think harder at it is because when I look at my analytics, the most people that engage with my content is people my age. It's from 18 to 34 years old. And when you see so much pushback on things that my father taught me when I was 6 years old, it starts, I don't know, it starts creating like this sense of um I don't know, despair to a degree, where society is leading. And I think, and on your previous stream, talking about depression, Jose, I mentioned briefly the movie Surrogates. I don't know if you guys have watched that movie.
I
I've
have.
watched that movie several times, and I think we're living exactly in that era where people are leaving their homes less and less and less, living through an avatar, and that avatar gets propped up with many things, and the way you want people to see it. And it's to the point that we're losing ourselves into what we want to be, and now life is more about looking like we're doing okay, not necessarily doing okay.
Okay.
Mhm.
Let's see if we can get True Teacher to share his words. True Teacher, can you speak? True Teacher, maybe you need to put like some sort of a mic.
I don't think he has his mic on.
Oh boy, looks like the mix got him. At least his
Yeah,
audio.
maybe truth bounce out and then come back in.
Mhm. Oh, there he is.
Not looking.
There you
Okay,
go.
yeah. Yes, use that, please.
We can't hear you. I think he has to push the mute. Press
Yeah,
the mute button on your screen.
or go to the cam mic sector and connect it to that device that you're using right now. Your audio should be connected to your headset.
But yeah, while he logs on, one thing I want to say is another thing that's causing depression, going back to depression is, and it relates to everything we've been talking about. I think I've mentioned this to you, Denise, the conventional internet wisdom that's out there. Teaching people, I think I've said it before, do what's easy, do what you love only. I think that was him.
Mhm.
No, we still can't hear you. um, Follow your passion. Sometimes you got to do what it takes. I know a lot of people in their 30s still trying to follow their passion living at home.
Interesting.
Trust me, I
and
know a few of those.
and
You
it's
guys
kind
hear
of
me now?
like, there we go. We can hear you. Welcome.
Yay!
Yay!
All right.
Welcome back, true teacher. We didn't miss you.
Okay. So I don't know, like I just finished teaching a dance class, so I couldn't be with you guys from the beginning. And I don't know if you mentioned this, but another aspect of depression or another type of depression is metabolic. Like I struggled from depression and anxiety, and it's something that runs on both sides of my family. And it took me a very long time to figure out what was going on. Because I thought I was just going nuts. You know, um, what I realized is that there's an imbalance in the chemicals, in the chemistry in the body. And when that happens, it causes you to have really vicious mood swings, you know? And I recognized that also there were certain things in my environment that were exasperating it. For example, caffeine. I love coffee, but my body doesn't. And at my job, I used to, we had a coffee machine, so I would drink coffee all day long. And I would get like the soaring highs. And by the time like 5 o'clock, 6 o'clock rolled around, it would be like the crashing lows.
Mhm.
And I didn't understand what was going on with me.
Okay.
When I
It's
found out that, caffeine could do that, I got off of caffeine, but still, I had the chemical imbalance, like, just waking up in the morning and just feeling like crap for no reason. And then the vicious thing about it is that your brain can't figure out why you're feeling, upset or whatever. And so what your mind does, it searches for a reason. So it'll look in your environment or whatever happening in your environment that's displeasing you, and then it blows it way out of proportion. And then
okay.
you start going on another roll. So for me, it was what really helped me was recognizing the fact that I had a situation. It was a chemical imbalance. And so I had to take control over my emotions. And I had to be very vigilant about the kind of thoughts that I allowed myself to think. Because I would go on this, worst case scenario tangent and just end up going down a rabbit hole. And it was blowing things up out of proportion that weren't really true, but it was exaggerating everything, right?
Mhm.
And so what I started doing is I'm like, okay, I know what this is. This isn't real. This is just a hormonal situation. And the anxiety that I'm feeling, the sadness that I'm feeling is not real. This is, it's a chemical trip, it's a chemical imbalance.
Okay.
And what I would do in the beginning is say, you know what? I'm sick and tired of this shit. This is some bullshit.
Okay.
I'm not gonna let this shit fucking ruin me. I say, you know what?
Mhm.
I don't give a fuck what's happening. I don't give a fuck how I'm feeling. I'm making up my mind that I'm gonna have a good day today. Fuck this
Okay.
shit. And
Excuse me, to teacher. I don't mean to cut you. It's just that we have a special guest on the panel. So maybe let's give a proper welcome to the one, the only, the fearless, radical Latino.
Hey, what's going on, guys? Yo, 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 what's up?
How's
What's
it
up? What's
going?
up? Thank you for having me. What's up, guys? What's going on?
Sora,
Thank
we're
you for
talking
thank you
about
for joining us, radical.
Yeah, not a problem. I saw the title; it was enticing. I see that you have a psychologist there, and just wanna just confess, coffee is the reason why I lost my marriage. No, let me stop. No, 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 no. I find it very interesting that you have a psychologist, somebody that's equipped to talk about these type of issues, and I think it's very important. So thank you for allowing me to speak on your platform.
Yeah, radical. Now you got somebody you can talk to about, what happened with your pet guinea pig.
Oh, exactly, exactly. Every time I look at Tom and Jerry cartoons, I'm like, no, Gordito, my pet guinea pig. No.
It was
Well,
delicious.
well, the fact of the matter is, it's one thing for us to talk about it as lay people. It's another thing when we have a trained specialist who can give
Yeah,
professional insight.
yeah, yeah. I I've I've never really dealt with depression. I've always, to be completely honest, I've always, it's probably going to be very, very, very shallow, but I've always ignored it and distracted myself with either work or anything that I'm passionate about in order to not feel the things that I'm feeling. So as a kid, I've you guys could probably, the people that know me a little bit more or the people that know me personally, as a kid I've always used humor as a coping mechanism in order to uh not only break the ice with people, but as an order for me to shield myself from hurt. You know what I mean? So it could, and I learned that in my neighborhood, roasting people back and forth or whatever the case is. I learned to be quick witted or whatever the case is. But the thing is that that's still a form of trauma, and a lot of people don't really talk about it. A lot of people ignore it, especially men. We're taught to bury things in, especially in the Latin community. No se pendejo, like don't be a bitch or whatever. I'm sorry, I don't mean to curse. I'm sorry, but
No,
but
Fighter, you know me by now. I do not censor people.
fighter? You mean
I mean,
radical?
I'm sorry.
Ooh.
Oh my God.
Uh-oh. No,
Okay, but you understand where I'm coming from, right?
yeah. So what I'm saying is that's something that we got to learn to take away and learn, and especially men, we need to learn to, it's not weak to express yourself. It's not weak to let people know how you're feeling at the moment. Me, I have a problem with letting people win, because if, let's say for example, if something's happening at the moment, I will not let nobody know until the situation is done. Once the situation is done, that's when I let them know. Oh, by the way, I was living in my car for 4 months. You know what I mean? And they're like, wait, what the hell? When was this? Because I don't like people feeling sorry for me or have like that BS sympathy. Like, oh my God, wow, that's crazy. I can't. How do you feel about it? How's that going to help out my situation? I'm going to help myself out right now by getting myself out of it. This is my game plan. It's already done. Now you know about it. You know what I mean? But I understand it's not very healthy, because I tend to shut some people away, but it is what it is. I think I need help. No, let me stop.
but yeah, I like what you're sharing, because look, I talked about this earlier. You said that you kept yourself busy, and earlier I said part of mental health is being productive. I
Yeah,
feel like the pandemic and the younger generation, they have too much time on their hands now.
yeah,
And they
yeah,
only be positive for so long. Does that make
yeah.
sense? The other thing you brought up, I believe tough love works with kids. That's the reason
Mm,
to get my head straight. I have a friend
mm,
that's in prison. I have another one that's a recovering drug addict, but they never got the tough love. So they don't
mhm.
know consequences in a way. The other part of it, I feel like when you're saying that you lived in your car and nobody knew, you kind of learned how to figure things out in a way. Does that make
Yeah,
sense?
yeah. It does. It
So
does.
I feel like you have that toughness in a way. Because a lot of
Yeah.
people, I used to see it that way, where like, man, my parents were harsh, they didn't let me feel. But that's how I shake my way. Because look, I'm 41, but when I was like 18, I had anxiety and panic attacks. That's what made me change my major.
Mm,
Mhm.
The first panic attack I had, my mom was taking me to the hospital, and my brothers and sisters were like clowning on me. Oh, look at this little bitch. Look at him. But that's the way I talk to myself when I started shaking my way out of anxiety. Back in my generation, PE teachers were allowed to cuss you out in front of your face. The regular teacher was allowed to cuss you out in front of my face. And so there was a lot of toughness back then. Like it created this tough skin where, and my parents were harsh on us. So when a teacher would get in my face, I would like tell her, like, you know what, my mom's worst.
Yeah.
But that's what I mean, that we need that tough love, because humans grow from the negative. Humans
Yeah.
grow from challenges.
Yeah.
When there's too much positivity, if we face a challenge when we're older, we'll break easier. We'll get anxiety.
Because we gotta learn from certain things. I understand what you're saying. Tough love is a positive thing. I agree with you. I definitely agree with you, because it takes a certain person to not give up. You have to keep on going. That's what life is. Life is not going to be easy on you. Life is going to hit you hard. You just got to keep on getting yourself up and keep fighting through. You know, I've remember putting myself or having myself in many difficult situations, and I could have easily gave up and say, woe is me. But I said, no, I'm going to actually do what I need to be I need to do what I got to do. You know what I mean? But this is the thing. I do it by myself. I don't let nobody know what's going on at that very moment until the situation is done. When the situation is done, that's when I let them know, oh yeah, I was in a coma for 4 days. You know what I mean? And they're like, wait, what the hell? You know, so this is what I'm saying. I believe that might be a problem, because I have seen it affect my personal relationships with women when it comes to opening up to certain things. I tend to cut people off in order to, how can I say this, in order to deal with what I got to deal with, and then I'll be right, because I know whatever situation is happening is going to affect me to the point where I won't be 100% in focus mode with my partner, or whatever the case is, you know. And that might be a negative, but I don't know.
Yeah, and well, here's another thing that is causing, I feel, a lot of problems. Everyone, especially because of the internet, everyone's seeking perfection, and it doesn't exist. So just make sure you don't take that too far, because I feel like I've done that in my life, where I was just seeking perfection too much, where just jump in, and whatever happens, you're going to learn from it. Make sense?
Yeah. No, definitely. I think self progression is very, very important. I remember as a kid, I will always jump in and out of relationships because I didn't want to be by myself. By the age of, I'm gonna say 15, I had to learn to say, one, I don't know if you I do a lot of self-reflecting, I like to look at my flaws and find a way to, como se dice, like to improve on them. And I'm very, very critical about my flaws. And I say, this is my issue, this and this and this and this and this. What am I going to actually ignore, and what am I going to actually face head on and actually do what I have to do and improve myself? And there's a lot of things that I put into the back burner and improved on other things, you know. But being by myself was a big scary moment, and I wasn't used to being by myself, to the point where at the age of 15 I started saying, you know what, I'm gonna be single. And I was single for 2 years straight, just being by myself, being okay with me. And then that's when I start to learn a little bit more about self-reflecting and self-improvement and all this other stuff, you know.
Okay.
Yeah.
Excuse me. I just want to like, if anyone wants to ask any questions, you can put them in the chat. If any of the panelists have any questions for Tim, because I understand that this is his busy season. So
Yeah.
if anybody have any questions, by all means, fire away.
Let me ask.
Go
Is
ahead.
is it normal to take cold showers in the dark? No. No, 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 no. I wanna
I've done
ask.
it in another country.
Oh, no, no, I feel you. No, I wanted to ask. What is your best advice, or how would you deal with uh open just openness, like opening up to a spouse about how you're feeling at the moment, to avoid either conflict or to avoid a argument.
well, well, this is the thing. Um, for men, when I get men here alone, I try to teach them not to be afraid of the fire. Like I'll give you an example. I get a lot of white men in here that are with Latinas, but
Mm,
the Latinas are stepping all over them, and this is what I tell them. Like, look, Latinas, not just Latinas, a lot of the minority women, they're fiery. They're like fire,
that's
but
true.
it's more exciting. But you just have to learn how to control the fire and
That's what you
maneuver the
told
fire.
me. That's what you
Because
told me.
if you're afraid of the fire, like me, I'm not afraid of confrontation. But this is the thing I told Jose a quote earlier. The closer you are to reality, the less you get triggered by things. I know
Mm,
that if my girl throws a fit, she can say the harshest things, even about my mom. But to me, that's normal. Does that make sense?
mhm. Yeah,
In
yeah,
my
that makes
mind,
sense.
I'm like, yeah, this is freaking normal. So I'm going to confront. I don't lose
Yeah,
my cool. But what I'm saying is, I'm not afraid of confrontation.
got
This
it.
is the thing. The reality is that there's going to be confrontation, there's going to be fights. And if you avoid confrontation, they're going to follow you and try to pick information out of you,
Of course.
not because women are bad, because they like clarity, they like feedback, and they like solutions. And if
Oh,
you don't give
I
them
thought you was gonna say because women are the devil. Sorry.
that,
Excuse
Come on
me.
now. Let's be
Excuse
positive
me.
now.
I
We
now,
have
we're,
a
didn't say
Latina on
that.
this panel,
I didn't say that. I
okay?
didn't say that. I was hacked. I was hacked.
Tread
now we're hearing,
carefully.
but now we're hearing why, if you believe they're the devil, like me, but like me, I like the fire in a way. I
Yeah.
just had to learn how to maneuver. Kind
Yeah.
of like Justin was sharing his experience earlier, but up until age 22, I was more in the feminine. I was trying
Mm,
to do the right thing. I'm not gonna confront, and they were stepping all over
yeah.
me.
My
You know
my
what?
my
I have my masculine feminine chart here that I did for a client. You
yeah.
remember that chart, Denise?
My thing is that whenever me and my wifey get into like confrontation, this is the way I deal with it. I shut down. I completely shut down and stay shut. Because one, I don't want to explode, and two, I want to collect all my thoughts together and
Yeah.
then have a real conversation. My
Mm.
wifey, on the other hand, she wants to be like, no, vamos a hablar de esto ahora mismo. You know what I mean? Like, let's talk about it right now. And I'm like, yeah, no, because I'm like super mad right now, and I'm gonna say things that's gonna hurt you.
Mm.
So that's how I deal with things. And when I shut down, I might shut down for an hour or for a whole day,
But do you come back
depending.
with clarity?
Yeah, I do. I come back voluntarily, with like, okay, let's sit down because I've thought about it. I was thinking some crazy stuff, but now I feel a little bit better. Let's talk about it. You were right, I was wrong, and we'll talk from there. But
Mm.
my initial reaction is always shut down.
Yeah, and that can cause because look, in the feminine, they overthink a lot, and there's nothing wrong with that. But if you shut down too much, you're gonna make them overthink times for in a
That's
way.
that's what I like.
When you
No, let
when
me
you
stop.
ignore, look, when you
Uh-huh.
ignore us, and I'm saying this as a woman, when guys ignore us, like for example, when Justin ignores me and I'm throwing a fit, when he comes back, he can't even tell you himself that fire is 10 times bigger
Mhm.
if he doesn't address it.
I know. That's why I do it.
Especially with us, we're Latinas. You know how it is.
No,
Uh,
no, but this is
Denise,
the thing.
Denise, are you trying to say something about us men who are in relationships?
No, but look, the thing is like one thing that's like super detrimental in my opinion when it comes to like disagreements that easily can escalate them into arguments, which is something I hate to have to happen,
Mhm.
is the fact that men tend to disengage. When you disengage from communication completely, what that tells us as women is he doesn't love me, he's fucking gay, he doesn't like me, I just want to bounce out of here.
Yeah, that
He
was my
doesn't want to be here. You know,
when I
those are
was.
the things that go through our minds.
Mhm.
Well, I can only speak for myself, but
Mhm.
when I'm upset, I prefer not to talk
Mhm.
because if
That's right. Bury everything in, and you cry later. No.
no,
But
because if I speak when I'm angry, I'm not going to think about it rationally. I'm going to say the first thing that comes to my mind, and sometimes it may not sound so nice. So what I would rather do is like walk away so I can calm down and then come back and try to explain myself in a rational way. Now, some women might think of it as rejection. I look at it as that I'm trying to de-escalate.
But I
Yeah.
think the problem with that is like when we went to Tim about our communication
I was gonna
problem,
tell you guys to explain to them.
that even like this year, I kind of sank back into it a bit
Mhm.
to where like where she would get angry, I'm like, you know what, I'm just gonna back off. But then like for some reason, I think it was one conversation we had last week where I didn't shut down. I I told her why like I needed to disconnect after we had that conversation because I was like, I don't want to, I'm trying to think and I don't want to, I don't want my feelings overtaking what I really want to say. Because sometimes your feelings is not real in that moment. It's just because you feel sensitive. So, it's sometimes it's best to, like I get said, sorry I'm at work, but it's
It's
best to
okay.
sometimes just, I don't know. Me, I'm starting to learn to just chill out right then and there and speak because it's better to kill it now than later.
Exactly. So my thing is, it's not about nice. Women like truth and reality, and if you don't give them the truth and reality, they're gonna try to pick it out of you. And some people are like, "Wow, she nags," but this is the thing. This is the science behind it. Women, men and women, they have their cave girl, cave guy mind. Part of the cave girl primal mind, it's called the primal mind. Sometimes I feel like I think I've told Denise and Justin this. Like I'm the only therapist that allows women to throw fits. Why? Because they're checking to see if they have the leader of the caveman tribe, if they have the guy that's gonna provide the hunt. But since that doesn't exist anymore, it's standing your ground and confronting and giving truth, reality, feedback, solutions, clarity. Because, like I said, if you don't, they're going to try to pick it out of you or they're going to lose respect for you. When a woman figures out that you're more emotional than her, it's a turnoff for her. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
If she feels she's
Yeah.
more
Interesting.
fiery than you, because she doesn't feel like you're her emotional rock. And this is what goes through her cave girl mind. Wow, this guy is kind of soft. If I die, he's not gonna be able to take over with the cave kids. It's just an analogy, but you get what I'm
Yeah.
saying. Right?
Yeah.
So that's why it's And here's a new thing that I've been seeing in my practice, because I share a lot of my own experiences in my practice, and I've been getting a lot of guys that are in their late 30s, early 40s, and I share my stories, and a lot of these guys are like, "Damn, Tim, like it seems like your brother, you've been through a lot of battles with women, so you've learned these little dynamics." Because a lot of it I didn't learn from the book. A lot of it I learned from personal experience, and my older brother taught me a lot. And I'll share a little bit about that. I got like 7 minutes. Um, what was I saying with that? So these guys are telling me I've only been with one woman my whole life, and now I'm going through a divorce, and now I have to learn these little dynamics. That's why I was telling you, Radical Latina, like don't be afraid to jump and stuff, because you learn these little dynamics. It took me 3 times to get cheated on. It took my brother 4 times to get cheated on. By the time he was 17, he got cheated on 4 times. But it's not a negative thing, because you learn the human behavior of women. And women pick up on these things, I feel like psychically in a way. They, they can feel you out. Correct me if I'm wrong, Denise.
Oh my God. Tell me about it. Yeah, it's
But they can feel your energy. They can feel like, you know what, I'm turned off by this guy. There's something that's not right.
Yeah, that's why majority of women are obsessed with serial killers. Yeah, you're right.
no, but in all honesty, if you think about it, it goes back to what Justin was saying. Like we even saw it in our relationship, and like now, even if I start throwing a fit, it doesn't matter how I get. Like he literally tells me, just calm down, and this is what we're gonna do. And literally in my brain, it's something that subconsciously happens. Like I literally calm down and listen to what he has to say, and it literally disintegrates any desire that I will have to escalate the situation or all the fire that I came into the conversation with. Because it dismantles everything that I was thinking. Because he's literally talking to me at that point, and I'm seeing him exactly for what he's thinking. So he doesn't shy away from telling me things right there. It doesn't matter how mad I can. He literally tells me, you can get all mad you want, but I'm still gonna tell you what I'm thinking. Whether you take it or you don't take it, doesn't matter. I'm still gonna say it.
Or put yourself in the position to get them jealous. That always works too.
Oh my God!
You know what I mean? Yeah, that's right.
But this is the thing. There's a lot of people giving information out there on the internet, but a long-term relationship is way different than dating and boyfriend girlfriend. Does that make sense?
Yeah, that does.
Relationship, marriage is like a whole different game.
Yep.
So one last thing I wanted to explain, because a lot of guys sometimes think I'm like, oh, so you're telling me to be a douchebag? So I'm gonna give you the difference with my dad and my brother. My brother's a whole different animal on the negative side, but he would teach me certain things that would make sense. So my dad was more macho, get home from drinking, try to slap my mom, do crazy. That's more macho, but to me, that's feminine.
Yeah, that's right.
Bad ones, like the only reason you got away with that is because the culture supported in those days that the woman stays. Like if you try to do that with a girl now, she'll freaking leave you.
Yeah, me too.
That was macho, my dad. My brother was a whole different kind of masculine. He used to tell me, don't ever lose your fucking cool. If you lose your cool in a fight with your girl, you lost. The fight's going to be about you losing your cool. Yep. Be calm and be firm. But he's the one that told me, like, you always have to confront. Like, you always have to, but he would even tell my sisters, if you guys cry when you argue with your boyfriends, don't even bother arguing. You guys already lost. There's no point. Yeah. So that's the difference. I'm not saying to be macho and just my way or the highway, but I'm saying it's more of a self-control masculinity in a way.
Yeah. What I learned also from some debates that I've had, I learned that when you lose your cool, your emotional cap, and you lose it, don't ever let nobody else be controlled or have control for your emotions. If you could be easily, emotionally manipulated, then you lost the argument, you lost the discussion. You should reevaluate what you should be doing or talking, or you shouldn't even be talking in the first place, because a lot of men think that, oh, because I have a girlfriend or whatever the case is, I have this good paying job, I'm masculine, but yet they are feminine in other ways.
Exactly. I agree. When I do this chart that I draw with a masculine, feminine, I ask people, where are you on this chart? Are you on the masculine or feminine side?
You gotta make a new chart for me, because I'm not even there. You know what I mean?
No, but this is what I ask them. What I tell them is, it's not how you are in the outside world, because your true polarity shows up in relationships. Look, I get women in here that are like, but my man is masculine in business. He runs a business. He fights with guys at bars. But I'm like, but you're cheating on him. You have no respect for him. So in the relationship,
talk your shit, yo.
But you get what I'm saying? Like, your true polarity shows up for a man in a relationship. You can go be fighting guys out there, but how are you in a, like, I see this a lot with some fighters. They're fighters in the cage. They're good, but their girl's cheating on him. That tells me that in a relationship, he's feminine. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Interesting.
So your true polarity, like there was a fighter that actually almost killed his girlfriend, and I was just like, man, that just shows me who was running the show. Does that make sense? So it doesn't matter. Tell you the truth.
So I have to threaten my girl more. Got it. No.
But I even have my own little theory that the craziest guys in gangs are actually feminine. It's an emotional response.
Yo, that's true. Oh, no, that's actually true. That's actually true. Shout out to Bloodshed. Never mind, forget it. But yeah, no, that's true.
Their hood so much. It's an emotional response where I feel like the more strategic masculine is like, you go do the shooting.
That's
actually, they're not in control of their emotions.
Exactly.
Their emotions.
Yeah, that's actually true. That's actually very true. Very true.
I actually talked to this dude that just got out of jail, and they asked him to do a hit, like a stabbing, but he knew the guy that was asking him was kind of like not about it. So he's like, okay, I'll do it, but you come with me. And the guy, oh, you know what? Never mind. Like, he got out of it. Usually you can't get out of those things. If they ask you, you got to do it. But he knew what that guy was about. So he's like, I think this guy's bluffing. I think he's just testing me. And he told him that. And he just like, but that just kind of showed him like, this guy's like not about. But that's what I'm saying. Like, some of the craziest guys in gangs are like kind of like feminine in a way. It's emotional responses in a way. It's kind of like those guys that I think I shared it with Denise. Some guy that shot his girlfriend in his front porch over here in California. It was an emotional response. He probably thought it's never a possibility that she could cheat. When he found out, he got mind fucked. Sorry for cussing too much, Jose.
Well, okay. Tim. Let me explain myself. Unlike a lot of Christians, I don't censor people, because my thing is I allow them to express themselves as long as they allow me to do so.
Okay. Sounds good. So yeah, back to the story about that guy that shot his girlfriend. He never thought it was a possibility. It happened because, look, most people that are emotional, they have a blow up, and then they'll feel guilty about that blow up. So this guy shot his girlfriend. He felt guilty about it, and he committed suicide later.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Because people that are on the real masculine, there's no guilt. They'll cheat. There's no, like I was talking about my brother. He'll cheat. There's no guilt. There's no guilt in these things. They just do it, and they will even tell you, don't do it. It's not in you.
Oh, yo, that's what I'm gonna be telling my wife. I'm like, I'm masculine. You better listen to me. No, let me stop. No, but that's true. That's true. No, that's actually true. You just said that, and there's a couple of incidences that I witnessed that. No, yeah, you're right. You're absolutely right.
Like, this is an important principle, even going back to the whole thing about depression, and that's having control of your internal dialogue.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So with me, part of my recovery from, well, I wouldn't say recovery because I'm still managing it, right? I mean, even today, when I started my dance class, I was having a wave, and I just recognized it for what it was. And I also shut down the internal dialogue, because when you find yourself in that tailspin, like I said, your mind is trying to make sense. It's trying to match up, the feelings with a reason. So it'll blow things all out of proportion. You start getting these arguments inside your head. You start having these negative self dialogue. And I had to shut it down. So a
Yeah.
lot of
Don't
people,
truth. It gets much worse. Just embrace it. No. I'm playing. I'm playing.
But, but but truth, one thing you said earlier that I wanted to touch on is I feel like what you did is you turned on the fire on your depression.
yeah,
And I like that because I have my own little definition of depression and anxiety is suppressed fire.
Mm.
can you explain that a little bit more?
And I feel like you turned it on. Like,
Explain that. Explain that for a second, because I like that word. Explain that.
suppressed fire is like you're not expressing your anger a lot. You're trying to be too nice sometimes. But I feel the
Oh.
first person you should express that anger to is to yourself. And I'll give you an example. I had
Self-hurt. That's right. Get a bunch of little blades. No, let me stop.
like I'll give you an example. When I first started doing this work, Denise, I think I shared this story with you. I was working Monday through Saturday, six, sometimes even 8 clients a day. I was just pumped up. But
Damn.
since I'm a person that doesn't get too stressed, I started getting these headaches. It showed up as a headache. And one day I thought I was like having a stroke, and I went to the ER, and the doctor told me like, no, you're not having a stroke, but I think you're just working too much. You should calm down. And anyways, the doctor left, and I was in there alone, and the nurse was like, you want me to call anyone? And she's like, no, I don't need no pity party. And at the same time, I kind of got like, sounds weird. Like, it's not to offend spirituality or anything, but I kind of got mad at God, but I had a chat with him in a way.
Yeah, that's right. Get mad at him. Yeah, that's right.
So what I told him was, what I said was like, no, it wasn't nothing negative, but I was just like, you know what? I'm gonna keep going. If I die, you did this. Like I don't give. Like, I was like, I don't give a like I'm gonna keep going.
Yeah,
like in a way, I even turned the fire on God. But at the same time, I felt like this feeling. It's kind of weird, but I felt like this feeling from the other side that was like, finally, someone talks to us like this. Everyone's just begging us. And ever since then, my headaches went away, and I felt a little stronger. And everything went away. But what did I do? It's kind of like what Truth did. You turn on the fire on yourself.
It's interesting what
and I have a friend that's a doctor, and he tells me, I can tell the people who are going to make it or not. This person has a fire. Oh, they're a fighter. They're going to make it. Oh, this person is giving up. They're checking out already. They don't even want to fight it. They don't even want to. So the fire is important. And I feel like that's the fire has been dimming in people in society. And that's how I see people when they come in. I want to see how big is their fire, and do I need to turn it up? Or sometimes the other way. Wow, this person has too much fire. I need to calm them down because they're tripping on their partner too much. Does that make sense?
But Tim, like, I got a question. Because I remember in one session you were saying, like, correct me if I'm wrong, where you were telling us, like, when we were there, you were saying, like, people have this fire to where, like, when they post stuff online, there's like, oh, I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to put up. And you said, like, you guys don't put up with anything. So how would you be able to put up with?
What do you mean?
I forgot how you worded it at the time.
Put up with what, in relationships or?
Yeah, like how people post like, oh, I'm not gonna put up with this, that, and the third.
Oh well, yeah. That I feel like that's a big reason why a lot of people are single right now. Nobody wants to put up with anything anymore. And the reality is that because of all these Instagram posts that teach men and women. It's not just like women. A lot of guys think it's just women. Unreal. It's men too.
No, that's true. I'm like, what? You got an extra toe? I'm out.
Yes, you don't have 11 toes. But what I'm saying is like it's unrealistic expectations, and you have to put up with something in life. It's some people, they don't want to put up with stuff at jobs and they keep quitting jobs. But some people, it's in relationships. But I feel like you have to apply the not put up with things in certain areas. Does that make sense? Like you got to be authentic and realistic when you apply that.
I see it like this. Look, you have a list. Everybody has a list when it comes to relationships of like 100% of things that they want. But you have to put in your mind that at some point you're at the most, you're going to get 80% of what you want. Not 100 is not going to happen, especially if what's on your list does not align with what's out there in the world.
You got too much fire, Denise. You better chill out.
Denise, are you referring to like a checklist?
Yeah, like for example, like you want so many things. Like we're saying both with men and women, and I'm gonna take myself
Just
for
women.
example. No, we want so many things out of men today. For example, I'm gonna speak for women, right? We want so many things out of men. Men have to be perfect. They're not supposed to be allowed to, exist in the society, be masculine, because masculinity today there's a war on masculinity. So I'm not going to put up with this. I'm not going to put up with that. I want a man that's alpha, that's loyal, that, it's a provider that allows me to stay at home, that also understands that I'm my own self, that I'm for my career, that, he's going to have to share me with the world, that I get to do whatever I want and blah, 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 blah. And none of those things align with any type of men that exist. You can want those things. That it's okay. But just understand, it doesn't exist. An alpha, loyal man that comes to you every day and prioritizes you as a woman doesn't exist. It doesn't matter how you want to word it, and if you want to manifest it into existence, it doesn't exist. So you're going to have to trade off certain things that, you can live with in order for you to get 80% of what's on your list. And that is the problem that we're having in society today, because every time you're trying to rationalize these things, then the meme pops up. If it doesn't put you first, don't let your crown fall down for no man, and blah blah blah, and all these type of situations start happening, and then you start sabotaging your relationship because a meme on the internet told you so.
Yeah.
Interesting. I remember last month I actually went to a play, and the name of the play was The Checklist. And what happened was you have an African American male who fell in love with a Dominican lady. However, she had like a checklist of certain things the man has to have. One of them that he did not have any children. It just so happens that the boyfriend had a son, but what he did was he lied because he was afraid that if he was honest to tell this lady that he had a son, that she would reject him. And she found out anyway, and it was an ugly situation. And unfortunately, we can have unrealistic expectations.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and that's why I say, even in these spaces that we share with this little community that we're forming in YouTube, when we hear these things from these individuals that have all these expectations, and we're telling them, yo, that's not reality. We're out here in the world. We're actually in real relationships in the real world. That's what I tell them, and a lot of them get mad at me, but it's buy a dog, die alone, because it's not going to happen. And I think people keep dreaming about these things, and then they call you, oh, you're a dream popper, or you're a Debbie Downer, or you're just angry at me,
You're
or
realistic.
Exactly, because they refuse to accept this is not what's out there. You see it as a market. You can want to go, for example, you want to go to Whole Foods and you want to find everything that's on your list at the peak of the holidays. It's not going to be there. It's not going to be there. you know.
There's there's a dude here in the office. He's the receptionist guy. There's two. There's a woman and a guy. But he was sharing a story about his friends, some of the girls he knows. He's like, yeah, I've been telling them throughout their 20s, hey, when are you gonna get a relationship? When are you gonna get a? Oh, I'll do it later. I'm having fun. I'll do it later. He's like, now they're in their early 30s and they're still telling me that.
Yeah.
And they're not being realistic. And I feel like this is the thing. I feel like a lot of people are living with their parents later. And when you stay living with your parents later, you stay more juvenile and you want to do more juvenile things.
Yeah, you stay stagnant.
Yeah.
It's true.
As a high value masculine male, I'm going to I'm going to have to agree. I think I found it very interesting that a lot more women especially don't want to settle down in relationships. All they want to do is just, like you said, have fun, be side pieces or whatever the case is. Let's not have a label. And I feel that the reason why is because society nowadays doesn't want to have nothing tied down, doesn't want to have nothing official, just so so it could be like, no, it's a free thing or whatever the case is. But two, I feel like it's a way for people to protect themselves from hurt. And obviously a lot of people don't like relationships that hurt them. It's okay, it happens. But the way I see relationships is like a casino. Every time you're not going to get the same hand twice. It's okay. You fail in one relationship, another one will come. Just don't repeat the same mistakes. That's the way I see it.
But if you think about it, there's a quote. I'm a huge Bob Marley fan, and he said something a long time ago that I always try to keep in mind. Everybody in life that you care for is going to hurt you. You just have to pick which people in your life are worth taking a shot for.
Yeah, and that's true.
That's something that people don't understand. Everybody that you care for in your life will hurt you. The biggest hurts that you're gonna get are not gonna come from people that you don't care for. Are gonna come from people that you actually
That's true.
love.
That's realistic.
True. That's true. There was a dude in my block. He told me something that I've never forgotten. He said sometimes people are here for a lifetime in your life. Like, people are here for a lifetime. Sometimes people are here for a season. You need to figure out if they're bringing in anything positive to your life and who's seasonal. He's like, you'll be surprised that there's a lot of people around you that are way more seasonal than lifetime people.
Yeah.
And I feel like that's true, because in high school I had a huge group, more than 30. And by the time I left, literally I could count with one hand how many people were around.
True. Well, I got to get going, but one thing I wanted to share that I see a lot in these days is human naturally avoids pain and seeks pleasure, but I feel this generation does that at a high level. They're trying to avoid pain too much and seek pleasure only too much, and it's to an extreme in a way. And I feel like someone asked me once in the session, like, so, because I told them, like, I think your dude is too juvenile. And she asked me, like, well, what's your definition of juvenile? Where they avoid pain and seek pleasure too much. That's juvenile.
That's true.
It's not reality. But I got to get going. I have a 6:30. Jose.
Oh, yeah. That's with me. With me. So, yeah. All right.
Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Yeah.
Feel free to pop in. There might be other occasions where we might need your expertise. I really appreciate your input. Thank you very much for sharing your wisdom with us.
Okay, thank you. And
all right, Tim. Nice seeing you.
Thank you, Tim.
I have a quick question. Are you guys in the East Coast?
I'm in the East Coast.
Radical and myself are on the East Coast. I happen to be in Parkchester, which is the jewel of the Bronx.
Yeah.
Shout out to the East Coast.
Yeah. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you
All right.
so much.
I
All
have a
right.
confession. I have a confession to make. Radical. I'm the one that cooked your guinea pig, and I served it to you.
Yeah.
Man,
Yeah. Well, guess that you're showing your fire too much, and I'm here to extinguish it. Okay.
Get your
No.
80%, Rod. Get your 80%.
No,
Um,
that was Jose.
and,
Thank Jose.
and
I've really enjoyed this live stream. I think this is probably one of the most informative live streams I've been a part of.
Yeah,
Thank you for having me.
well,
yeah.
first
It's
of
been
all,
very refreshing.
it's my pleasure to have this much gray matter on one panel. I mean, we're like the dream team.
Yeah,
Yes.
absolute the Avengers.
Yeah.
Unfortunately, we
Yeah.
seem to be the ones that people hate the most. But
Yeah.
Wait, Jose, did you catch my appearance on the other person's stream by any
what do you
chance?
mean, Moonchase? Kind of
Yeah,
because yeah, but
I want to ask you what did you think of my assessment?
I think it's very, it was very analytical.
Yeah,
You did admit, you gave as clear as an assessment as you can. Um, but
yeah,
I look at it this way. I prefer to look at this as a learning experience.
yeah.
Okay, so we can we can do better, and because the fact of the matter is, we all have haters. That's a fact.
That's true. That is
Okay,
true.
But
and
if you don't have haters, you're not popping.
That's
and I know eventually people are they're gonna have their bullseye on me. If not because of my material, it's going to be because of the people that I choose to hang with.
yeah.
what happened with Moonchase?
Yeah. No,
Yeah.
nothing
Oh,
happened
look
with
at
Moonchaser.
through teacher. Look at
Nothing
through
happened with no Moonchaser just had a stream. I didn't know what the stream was about. It just sounded like he was having a stream about the stream that I had. But I guess it was a combination of a lot of things or whatever the case is. So Lord got on and Lord was like, "Yeah, Radical, you on the hot seat." I'm like, "I'm not in the hot seat. I didn't do shit." so so me and Lord we spoke. I saw some of his points, but it was pretty much just blaming Denise about this, blaming Denise about that, and
Yeah, that's
I
like the usual. The usual.
yeah, and he goes like, "Yeah, I understand you're trying to defend Denise because she's your homegirl." I'm like, "I'm not defending her. I'm defending the truth." I don't know what the problem between Denise and Lord is, but I have seen people attack Denise for no reason. And he would say, "No, that's not true." And I just used myself as an example. I said, "Look at Fighter. Fighter is attacking me for no reason. Look how many videos he's done about me, and I haven't done shit." So I'm using myself as an example. So if I'm using myself as an example, then you should see that people just attack. Then I've seen live streams literally be made just on the basis of what Denise said last week. It's insane. It's to me, it's uncalled for. It's insane. It tells me that these people out here don't, and I'm not saying Lord only. No, I'm talking about other people. That some of these people out here can't accept the fact that a woman is either putting them in their place or telling them that no, you're fucking up and you should be doing this and this and this and this.
Yeah, it's something. It goes back to do you remember the interview that you had with me, Radical, when I didn't even had a channel? When I told you that the problem that a lot of people had with me was because it was a woman spreading the message. Because if it was any man, it would be praised. And like I said before, I get it. I've said it many times before. I get it. It burns that this message is coming from a woman. However, until there's plenty of men spreading this message, so that I can actually chill out and just go and start a cooking channel and teach people recipes. Until I see like a group of men actually spreading the message, and people getting it, I'm all they got. And
Well,
it's almost to the point where, for example, with Lord, we used to be on agreement on a lot of things, but it all went south when he stopped. For some reason, he doesn't watch my content like that, because on the stream that he started disagreeing with me, he was like, but you're talking about the man, and what about the woman? And I'm like, I literally had a stream about feminism and Sylvia in the Latin community, and how us as women have to stop doing the shit we do a week before. So it tells you that when you pick and choose what part of my content you're going to use to judge my persona, that's when you start being disingenuous, and that's when I'm gonna come for you. Because then what you're doing is that you're cherry picking what's convenient, because you always want to be right, and that is exactly the problem that
I
we're
like
seeing.
cherries.
Like acerolas.
Well,
No, but seriously, it's literally this is when we're starting to see that what I'm saying about this whole um move forward and Latino empowerment, it's so needed, because for too long we've had people that have spread the message that Lord Hokage has received, unfortunately, which is you don't have to work as hard. It's okay to keep being the gardeners and the manual labor of this nation. It's okay to stay in the position that we're in, and that is not okay. Right
That's
now, we're
right.
being
Not my
threatened.
flaws. That's right.
Right now, we're being threatened by automation. It's a reality. It's coming. Latinos are not prepped. By 2034, we're going to be earning $0. We have to stay competent. And I am very concerned about my community. I love my people and I want us to keep thriving. But apparently, that is a problem simply because it comes from a woman. And because a lot of people that we have, unfortunately, in this circle just wants to be around for the fuckery, the drama, the bochinche, the chisme, and they want to be in that caldero de chisme all the time, not minding the fact that the life that we were used to have before 2020 is no longer out there.
um,
It's no longer out there by any means. Right now, if you look at the charts, this is not, like I've said many times, this is not a Denise thing. This is a reality thing. If you look at the war right now, the way it is, it's no longer out there. And that's a reality that people don't want to accept. And then when it comes down to me speaking about this, because unfortunately I have to say this truth to the man, then they come at me and attack me in every
I don't
different
like what you're
way.
saying, Denise. Shut up.
And then they come, oh, but what about the woman? You're starting to sound like an African American
but
woman. I'm like,
the
I'm not.
thing with that is like, for one, the whole goal is to help Latin America. Like I said, I don't get involved. I help in the background, but you're speaking on your community. I don't have any
Yeah.
involvement in that. So I do, but at the same time, I don't, want to interrupt and put myself in front of you guys. Like, and I'm behind you, but it's not only are we getting individuals that don't understand that you can be pro Latino and marry outside and vice versa, but we also not getting people that understand
Yeah.
that if in a few years you're about to be homeless,
Yeah. See,
like
the thing
80%. Well,
the thing is,
real
oh yeah,
quick,
yeah, go ahead.
real quick. 80% of my community is homeless.
mhm.
So if you don't catch up, what she's basically telling, if you don't catch that curve, you're going to see a 80% jump in homelessness in the Latino. Your community is going to be 80, like mine's is 80%. Most of the homeless people you see is black. You're gonna see most of the homeless is gonna be black and brown people.
Damn, that means Gonzalez is gonna be out in the damn, yo.
Julio is gonna be asking you if you can spare a five.
Yo, that's
You
Yeah.
crazy.
know?
What I will say,
Or
what
what share? I'm gonna have to let Melanie and I and Denise stay in my apartment so that I won't be homeless.
Yeah, exactly. No, what I will say, Denise, is what's your dress size? No, let me stop. No. So what?
60, 65, radical
Oh
65.
shit! Oh
You
shit!
outed me.
Oh
I'm
you,
so
you
big.
oh shit! Is that you average is best? No,
I'm so
no.
big.
What?
You have to get a caterpillar to pick me up, radical.
No, what I am gonna say is I Denise bring her in her channel, she brings a lot of outside information that is extremely beneficial to our community. And these some of these slow motherfuckers don't tend to see it. And one thing that I told Denise, I believe in one of our private conversations with me, Denise, and I think Brotep, I believe, I said it's a little interesting that a video on my Instagram about a gang killing in Puerto Rico got more views and more hits than some of the shit that I post on my Instagram about positiveness. It's fucking insane.
Yeah,
And
because that's the, people like the morbo, radical.
dude, listen. Mind you, the stream that we had in my channel was simply just to talk about the psychology of haters or whatever the case is, to the point where I didn't even want to do it. I don't know if anybody could tell that I didn't want to do it because I was like in and out of it. And the thing is, the most people, I'm looking at my analytics on that stream. The only thing people are fucking watching is the fuckery that happened within the 1 hour mark. That's the only thing people are watching. They're not watching nothing else. They're literally just watching that whole segment. I have the analytics. I see the engagement, and the engagement skyrockets. All 500 something views are just on that. It's insane. So it tells me that the majority of these people obviously like some fuckery. I get it. Entertainment sells. I get it. No matter what form it is. But also we got to understand that we also bring in some positive information as well. There's a lot of things that I'm doing behind the scenes that I don't even tell people. Some people know, I have a retail space. It's not a secret. I don't want to say it where it's at. You know what I mean? Last thing I need people to be pulling up and shit. But Truth Teacher knows that I got a retail space. Jose knows, Denise knows, I think Melanary Nice knows. I got a retail space, and
Yeah, it's
forehand
because that's the thing. Look, I'm gonna summarize it like this. I would have loved to have more people like you, radical, that are from our generation. That there will be at least 7 radical Latinos. I love the video that you did on mining crypto. I would have loved that there would be 7 people like you speaking about this to our generation and coming from male voices, but it's only you, unfortunately. Now, my thing is, you don't think I would have loved to do my streams on how to make coquito, how to use a sewing machine, and all this stuff? Of course, I would have loved to do that because that's what I do on a daily basis. Now, my thing is, I'm unable to do so because I'm seeing the writing on the wall, and I see that we're getting relaxed while we should be going knees to chest towards becoming more competent with the market. And it's not
yeah,
happening. It's not happening. At least not
yeah.
fast enough.
Yeah. All I'm gonna say is before I go, because I gotta go now.
Yeah. Well,
All I
before-
gotta say is that I even though I shouldn't have. But again, this is the only response I'm gonna do to that said individual that me, Denise, Jose, Truth, and M Night knows who I'm talking about. It's a I did it on my podcast. I speak about the situation. I don't say the person's name, but I speak about it. But we all know who I'm talking about, and that's the only energy I'm ever gonna give it. That's it. I don't think that we should be entertaining kindergarten kids on anything when they don't bring nothing to the table. I don't care about what the homeless man does in the highway. So why give it so much energy? You know what I'm saying? I'm gonna give my critique, and that's basically it.
Yeah,
That's
that's
basically
that's the
that's
that's
all.
the way to go. That's the way to go. It's like I
Yeah.
said, I'm like, whether people like it or not, I'm gonna stay here. But to trust and believe. In 10 years from now, when the economy is different and the message that we're spreading based on our experiences in the financial market and the corporate market, when we keep talking about this, and we're gonna come back to this video, trust me, in 6 to 8 years from now, when the market crashes and jobs are stagnant and automation takes over, I can guarantee you're gonna see them on my channel trying to learn something from it, and on
I
your channel.
I told my employees it was a joke. I just did it today. I told one of my employees, so I told one of the girls, I was like, stand out there, and have males, entice males to come in. So I told her to, so I gave her one of the staff shirts, but it's like, it was like a very low cut shirt or whatever the case
Oh my
is.
God, Radical, you have a Hooters. Come on, Radical.
But hey, listen, it's helping. Okay, listen, my
You have them
my
in booty
wifey,
shorts.
listen, my wifey doesn't like it either, but she's looking at the money. I was like, hey, either that or what's going on. But anyway, so she's she's bringing people in or whatever the case is, and she goes like, what she says, she goes like, like she says something. She says something, and my response was basically was either that or I replace you with a robot. Which one you want? Because this is what's gonna happen anyway within 10 years. That's all I said. And she started laughing. I was like, I'm serious. I'm serious. Humans are gonna be replaced by robots. You think
Yeah,
I'm
that's
playing?
it. Look, in White
I'm for
Castle
real.
right now, human beings don't fry nothing. It's a robot.
Mhm.
Yeah.
And people think we're joking, or we're just, oh,
Yeah.
shut up, I'm gonna start my construction business. I was invited to a chat just to talk shit about me and try to threaten me, thinking that they can bully me into like deleting
Wait,
my
you
channel
were
or something.
invited to that?
I was invited to that chat, and
Hey,
they were
we're
like,
gonna make
oh
a stream talking shit
no,
about you. You wanna come in?
no, they were like, oh, yo, you, the fat bitch, show up, say something. We're gonna start a construction business and we're gonna make a lot of money. I'm like, yo, they're printing houses in Mexico. And they're like, oh, but
Yeah.
those houses are not sustainable. I'm like, they already have a whole town printed.
Yeah, they already did that. They already did that in Japan. That was the first thing that they did in Japan. I think was it a 6-story building that took maybe 6 months to 8 months to build. It was done in 3 weeks. So and it was all on code and everything. So
Yeah,
yeah,
look,
it's already
the town in Mexico, I show it even on my channel, took 12 days to be built. It
yeah
was 100 houses.
yeah it's happening now. But listen, Jose, thank you very much for
Well,
having me.
well, thank you.
I
Well,
really do
thank you for
appreciate it.
popping. Thank you for popping in. Oh, by the way, when I do my first stream on session two, season two, it's gonna be dealing on white supremacy, how to deal with it. So I really, really need you
Oh,
to be there and
so
support.
you gotta let me know so I could put it on my calendar and just
I
dedicate
will
this whole
do
thing.
so.
And
Uh,
he's gonna pop up and say, good evening.
yeah. I'm gonna be like Professor Radical in the building. No.
No,
I gotta go. I got some chores I should have done 6 hours ago, but I'm gonna do it now because I'm a high value masculine man, and I'm not scared. I'm not scared of my wifey, even though she threatened to beat me if those chores are not done. Whatever, whatever. Fuck you. Whatever.
thank you so much for popping in. You're
All right,
always
thank
welcome
you.
to be here.
All
All
right,
right,
thank you.
man. See
Catch you
you.
later, Truth. Catch you later, M Night, Denise. Catch you later.
Take care.
And Jose. Thank you very much.
All
Take
right,
care.
peace.
All right.
Please.
Okay. Now, what we're going to do is we're going to start to wrap up because I'm sorry, I'm not going to do no 8, 9, 10 hour streams. I don't have the time to do it. I don't have the energy to do it. And plus, people, as much as intelligent as I might be, no one wants to hear me ramble on for 9, 10 hours. So we're going to go to closing statements. So now we're going to go to teacher for his brief closing remarks.
Well, I think you should definitely do more of these because depression is something that a lot of people struggle with. All different types of depression. I started speaking about, like my depression, which is, biochemical. But Tim mentioned something. There is an emotional component, and I think we should talk about that another time. But a very key component is being able to take control of your emotions because if you're not in control of your mind and your emotions, they're going to be in control of you, and it's going to be like a runaway train.
Mhm.
And especially when you have unrealistic expectations about life, which in my case I did because of the kind of church that I was raised in, making you believe that if you're a Christian, you're supposed to have this, wonderful, mystical, magical life, and you're not supposed to have problems. And so, if you're raised to believe that if you're having problems or struggles, then it's the devil, or you don't have enough faith, um, it makes getting through life almost impossible because
Mhm.
you're not able to handle it. So
Mhm.
there's a lot that goes into mental health, and depression. There's many different types of depression and many different reasons for depression, and we need to be aware of all of it
Okay.
and different
Well,
ways of handling it.
well, thank you very much. Please feel free to pop in whatever you can. I know you really lead a very active life, but the fact of the matter is your wisdom is really appreciated. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put you in the background. And now we're going to go to my cyber son-in-law for his final remarks.
Okay. I think the discussion was pretty good. I personally, I feel like I've been through it. I know what it feels like. It's not a good feeling, but I do know that if, like what Tim said, being productive will get you out of it. Uh, as opposed to this, like I said, that it's how people, this platform also can add to it as well. And it's just up to you to point yourself in the right direction of what you want to listen to get your spirits up. You can't be, like Tim say, overly positive. You can't be overly negative, but get yourself in a space where you feel stable, where you don't feel, like you're losing your mind. And I just want to tell people that whether it's online or offline, just, go get some help, talk to people, better help. You got Tim, he's on the West Coast with us. We've talked to him, a very good, decent guy. Uh, just get some help because it helped me. And I mean, disregard what people say. If they don't want to go to therapy, if they don't want to fix themselves, whether it's your friends, family, strangers, whoever, that's on them. But you owe it to yourself to get your mental, physical, and spiritual self together. And that's all I wanted to say.
Well, Thank you, Melanie Knight, for joining the panel. You know that you have a home here whenever you're available to share your words of wisdom. So now I'm going to put you in the background. Okay. Um, Denise, your final remarks.
Well, my final remarks is, there's so many things I want to say, but partially, Melanated Knights told some of the things I wanted to say, but um, it's important that, during these times, we become more self-aware. I think that is the first step. Before it, a therapist can jump in to help you, or any type of help you want to get. The first thing that you have to become is self-aware of where you rank at. And unfortunately, because of social media, I want to highlight something that Tim said, with the constant message being pushed into us, especially millennials, like, do what feels good, follow your dreams, don't let nobody tell you different, blah 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 blah. Because of these things, unfortunately, a lot of people are losing their how can I say it, social compass, and they're not aware exactly in what place in the social map they're at. And what they tend to do is just attack everybody that attacks their fake or alternate reality. This is not a multiverse. That's something that I'm going to be speaking on this weekend. I'm going to focus on superheroes and anime. We are living in a multiverse of contradicting realities within everybody, and that's what's creating a lot of friction and a lot of unwarranted attacks on people. We're not seeing it. And I'm not. A lot of people say, "Oh, she's speaking because she's being attacked." No, it's not just about me. You can take people like, and I love to watch the Manosphere, for example. I've learned a lot from the Red Pill movement. You can see when they tell us women the reality that we must live in if we want to mate with men. A lot of women attack these men because they're telling us the truth. But at the same time, we're demanding that men tell us the truth. And like I said, we're our multiverse is collapsing because there's only so many realities that this world can sustain and society can sustain. And I think that is the best way to address everything that will point you towards getting depressed. Is basically at first becoming very aware of where you are at, what are your problems, analyze yourself, realize that there is something that is not working, and then move on to get yourself some help. And most importantly, have conversations in good faith. Visit your preferred therapist or professional in mental health with good faith, and let the message that they want to say to you get in and analyze yourself, contrasting from whatever they say. I want to thank you, Jose, for having me here. I want to thank everybody that has tuned in. Make sure you like this video, share it with your friends. If you like this content, like Brotep always says, come back with 2 friends or with 10, and let's start spreading this message to more and more people so that, society can start self-correcting itself. So thank you very much, Jose, the mayor of Parkchester, where life begins and never ends. Thank you very much to my cyber father for having me here. That's basically what I had to say. And good night. Merry Christmas to everybody that celebrates it. And happy Hanukkah for those who
And
celebrate.
happy first day of winter.
Jesus Christ.
I'm going to put you in the background, so please
Okay.
don't go away. Now, I'm going to give you my final thoughts. Depression is something serious. And the fact of the matter is, we can go on talking for hours. But it all starts with the reality that you are suffering the depression. And then it's up to you to take the near actions to try to rectify the problem. Unfortunately, living in a society where we're not encouraged to be honest and to be vulnerable. But the key is to admit that you have a problem and take the appropriate actions to take. I want to thank everyone for coming, being here, both in the chat and on the panel. I thank Tim Delgado for sharing his words of wisdom. Now, I'm going to do something I don't usually do. This is going to be a second stream on Thursday, and the topic is going to be, have we lost the art of respectable dialogue? It will be on Thursday at 9:15 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, 6:15 p.m. Pacific Standard Time, and 8:15 Central Standard Time. That being said, I'm going to close the same way I always close. People, please be careful out there, because we're still dealing with C-19, which has killed about 800,000 people in this country, and we must do everything possible to avoid contact with the mentally and intellectually challenged, because if we fail to do so, we will be infected by their stupidity and massive insanity. That being said, this has been another episode of Uncommon Sense with Jose Negron. Have a blessed night and peace.